ShipShape TV is brought to you by SureHold. Clean and simple. Make sure to subscribe to be notified of the latest ShipShape TV content.
This is kind of what I call birth week. It is, third week of October, and nobody wants to celebrate just a day. I guess you could for a birthday. I like to celebrate a birth week, and good deal you made it. Hi, I'm John Greviskis. It's awesome to have you back around the boats. A little while back, I was up in North Carolina, and I was reviewing this particular model. It's called the KenCraft 2260, and this is what is traditionally known as a flat bottom skiff. Normally, a boat like this, in that category, will beat you kind of really hard if you're in any type of chop or any type of wave. The KenCraft is completely different. I was so impressed with the boat, I went ahead and I ordered one, and this week we're taking delivery of it, and we're going to be making this the official skiff of ShipShape TV. We want to be taking it down to the Keys. We want to do some bully netting for lobster. We're going to be doing all kinds of backwater fishing. It's going to be unbelievable. But what we're going to be zeroing in on this time is how this boat gets built differently than the other ones out there. We're going to be taking a look at the stringer system. We're going to be taking a look at their fuel tanks. We're even going to be adding a diving board to the front of this craft. But before we can get into any of this stuff, shoot, you guys know the drill. You see, we need to work out a little trade-off. We've got to get all of you to spend the next 30 minutes with us as we're right here around the boat shop building something from scratch, and then in exchange, we're going to be letting you in on a whole lot more ways that you could possibly make a boat shipshape.
This episode of ShipShape TV is brought to you by SureHold Industries, helping you keep your boat clean and simple.
Welcome back. You're watching ShipShape TV, boat improvement made easy.
So John, today we're looking at a Bay Rider skiff in the mold, similar to what you have ordered.
The 2260.
2260. And we're going to talk today a little bit again about construction of this boat and how it's different from the competition.
Well, welcome back. We are now in Wilson, North Carolina, again, actually a KenCraft Boats manufacturing facility. And if you were driving up I-95 from, South Carolina or Florida, it would be about 2/3 of the way up the state, right off the highway. And who we again have on the program is Bob Brunson, and Bob is the president of KenCraft Boats. And Bob, over the summertime, you and I were out on the water, and you were actually demoing the boat for me, doing a boat review, and I was so impressed with it, I had to order one. Okay, I really want to make this the official skiff of ShipShape TV.
Right.
It's a very cool sub-niche in pleasure boating. I really want to take my boat down to the Keys. I want to do some bully netting for lobster, which means you don't even get out of the boat. Okay, and you can bring lobster into the boat. I want to do some backwater fishing. I want to do all kinds of accessorizing and everything. I think it's going to be a really, really exciting new project boat for ShipShape TV. But could we get into, maybe the foundation? How do these boats actually get built? Because I've never been in a flat bottom boat in a chop that hasn't beaten me to death. You blew me away. Yours does not beat you in a 1 to 2 foot chop at all.
That's
I mean,
right.
It's a very, very solid ride. How do you do that? How do you manufacture a boat to where it's flat and it isn't going to beat you to death?
Okay, so you've been doing this a long time, 25 years,
Yep,
right?
yep.
So you've seen this a lot, a boat in a mold.
Sure.
So we start like everyone else with a highly polished mold. We spray in our gel coat, which is Ashland's premier gel coat.
Okay, that's a good brand.
We offer 720 colors, of which you picked a great one.
720 colors. Now, through the dealer network, okay, they have a dealer network, and I opted for a really light green. I think it's very sexy.
Beautiful.
It's called Caribbean green. That's one of the 720 choices that customers have. And Okay, so there's a particular thickness to the gel coat that you try to obtain. What is that?
We try to stay at 25 mils. So as my gel coater is spraying, he's using a gauge the entire way to get the optimal amount of gel coat. Obviously too much causes cracking, too little has print through from the glass. So that's the optimal amount of gel coat on a boat.
Okay, then it gets skinned like everybody else.
Skin coat like everybody else.
Fiberglass chop strand mat going in, they roll it out. And can we talk just the weight of my hull? Okay, what are we looking at?
Around 2,500 pounds.
Okay, now anybody else that's out there, if they're building the same size skiff, what would their weight be?
50 to 60% of that.
That's a big difference. Does the weight have to do with anything on giving you the ride, a smooth ride?
So there's two things that we're standing here looking at that make a difference that you experienced on the water with me. Number one is the weight of the hull. It translates into a more solid ride. Number two is the fact that we have 4 massive stringers in this boat to prevent any kind of stress on the hull and to also make the boat a much more solid boat. It does very little flexion.
So if it was a lighter boat with thinner stringers, it flex a lot more, and that's what gives you the pounding in a chop?
Yes.
But when you have a heavier boat, it sits deeper in the water. You have these big wide stringers. What do the width and the height? Look at how high they are. Look at how wide they are.
So the average stringer height in here is around 10 inches wide, 10 inches tall.
Right.
So these are not too unsimilar from how we build a boat. They're made in a mold. I don't know the other manufacturers doing this, but we build these stringers in a mold. So we take a mold, each one of these has its own individual mold. We wax the mold, we lay the 1708 bidirectional glass for extra strength into the mold. We cap the mold. On the bottom of the cap is more fiberglass. That's now injected with closed cell polyurethane Coast Guard approved foam.
Okay, so this is where your Coast Guard flotation comes in.
Well, you're not even required to have that. We just add this to it. So yes, you've got a massive amount of flotation in this boat.
Okay.
So, but remember, it is waterproof. It will not absorb water.
So this is not the typical foam back in the day where it would absorb water.
Absolutely not.
This will never absorb water.
And on the bottom of our stringers it's enclosed in fiberglass all the way around. So you have glass to glass on the hull and glass on the top, and they're tabbed in.
Okay, so there's 4 massive stringers. Typically, I've seen them maybe 2 inches, 2.5 inches wide. These are 10 inches wide, and does that distribute the load? Does it distribute the flex of the boat when it's running through the water to make it more solid?
If you went and found one of these holes that's 10 years old, I would challenge you to find a stress crack on it.
Okay.
And the reason we believe that is not the case is because you have these 4 stringers. You're almost filling the boat up with stringers. So in all of your boat building experience, you've seen narrower stringers being built, either stick built or grids.
Absolutely.
So there's more space between each stringer. There's very little space between these stringers, except for the fuel tank, which I know we're going to talk about later.
Right. So thus meaning less flex.
Absolutely.
Okay. You're not going to get the stress crack, but also more weight, which
Yes.
gives you that smooth ride through a 1 to 2 foot chop. Because again, on a flat bottom boat, that's unheard of.
That's correct.
Okay. Let's do this. Bob, let's real quick take a time out. But when we come back, I want to show the audience how you are putting in the fuel tanks in a super unique way. Okay, and the advantages are huge. And let's cover it right after this.
Don't cut out. The tool shed here at ShipShape TV is just getting open. We'll be right back.
Wait, don't skip ahead. We've got a free gift for you. Hi, I'm Barry Burhoff, president of Surehold Industries, and we've been the leader in boat care for over half a century. And today, we want to share our free gift with you, Surehold's Essential Boat Care Guide and Checklist. By clicking this link above, you'll discover comprehensive tips from engine maintenance to effortless washing, ensuring your boat stays ship shape. So don't miss out. Download your free Surehold Maintenance Guide now so we can help you keep your boat clean and simple.
Welcome back. You're dialed in to ShipShape TV, boat improvement that's easy to comprehend.
So John, what we're seeing now is your 35-gallon fuel tank being installed in your 2260 KenCraft Bayrider.
Oh, what kind of range am I going to be able to get out of the boat?
It's a 35-gallon tank, and with the Yamaha 150 on this boat, your range is between 350 miles.
That is fantastic. Well, welcome back. We are again in North Carolina at KenCraft Boats, and Bob, I've never seen an aluminum fuel tank get installed in such a unique fashion. Could you share with everybody at home kind of like how you mount this into this stringer grid system?
So when we design our stringers, we actually build the mold to house the fuel tank. We drop the fuel tank in with neoprene strips on the bottom, 4 of them.
That keeps it off the floor.
Keeps it off the floor. We mechanically fasten at 4 attachment points with 2 stainless steel 3-inch lags per attachment point.
Okay, that looks like composite
Composite
spacers. Okay.
Then we will block foam only the 4 corners to help hold the tank into the boat along with the mechanical fastening.
I want you to kind of get a perspective here. Like if you were looking straight down in the fuel tank, there's like a channel, a deep channel that runs underneath it, and that's called what?
That's one of our tracking strings.
A tracking. There are 3 of them, and in a little bit we're going to show you why they're so vital and what it gives you. It's unreal. You're going to lose your mind. But this fuel tank, if there's ever any water, it's going to drain to that lowest spot. You're never going to hold water to the bottom of the tank. Right?
So the biggest problem with older boats is the fuel tank failures. When you have a fuel tank failure, you have to cut the floor of the boat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you can make your tank as potentially rust-proof as possible, and the way we do that is to allow the customer to be able to rinse his fuel tank off. You said it before, just like you rinse your motor, just like you rinse your boat, why not rinse your fuel tank?
Well, Yamaha is known for maintenance matters, okay? Not only are you putting it in, this must take a lot of time, a lot of extra time than a normal boat manufacturer.
A lot of manufacturers will simply drop the tank in and drag the wand with the foam around the fuel compartment, completely foam the tank in, stick the floor on top. The problem with that is where your Coast Guard access is, should that leak, water's trapped on top of the tank.
And it's going to, if it's salt water, it's going to eventually corrode.
Absolutely.
You're going to get those pinholes.
Yes.
All right, you're going to be leaking fuel, and that's a huge issue. So it's off the floor. It can drain. How would you rinse it? Okay, we know how to flush a motor. Okay, how would we go about rinsing this tank?
So we move our Coast Guard access to the console. It's an 11 by 15 hatch, not an 8-inch deck plate.
Okay, come on over here. This is actually the inner liner that's going to go into this KenCraft 2260.
Yes.
And this is the 11 by 15 access that you're talking about, that hatch. So you lift it up.
That's right.
With your hose, you rinse down the top of the tank, you rinse down the sides. Nothing will ever hold to the bottom.
And it drains to the bilge.
Is every compartment the same? Does everything drain?
Water can't be trapped anywhere in this boat. You notice there's drain holes in every bulkhead. So no matter where water is, that's where it ends up.
Okay, you're going down to Florida, very close to us, in about a week. I know that the boat's in final rigging. I'll trailer it home.
Right.
Okay, tonight. Get that done. In a week, could you meet me down there? Could we actually run the boat and really tell people how those 3 tracking strakes really are so integral to how this boat rides, because it's phenomenal.
We absolutely will do that.
Okay, awesome. Guys, we'll be in Florida right after this.
That's right, in my world, it takes an entire village to raise a boat. More guest experts from the marine industry right after this.
Transform your original dual-action polisher into a high-powered cleaning machine. Available in 3 different bristle strengths, these scrub brushes easily attach to your Sure-Hold polisher and are perfect for effective and easy cleaning on a variety of surfaces. Use the soft brush for general duty cleaning and scrubbing, for removing stubborn stains from heavily textured surfaces. Even waxing non-skid, use the medium brush. Finally, use the stiff brush on oxidized, non-skid, or to remove buildup grime on your most stubborn projects. No matter the job, achieve better cleaning results with a Sure-Hold dual-action polisher scrub brush of your choice. Sure-Hold, clean and simple.
From the start of your outboard until you return to the dock, make sure your boating experience is always fun and enjoyable by remembering that maintenance matters. Presented by Yamaha.
Hey guys, my name is Bryan Farell. I'm the head technician here at ShipShape TV, and today I'm going to be working with Ry Landry, the product education manager with Yamaha Marine. Now, Ry and I are going to be going over some questions that have come up from the viewers regarding carburetors. So I went through and kind of created my own little list of questions that I thought would be frequently asked or need answers to. First and foremost, what is a carburetor and how does it work?
A carburetor is a device that we use to actually meter fuel and air into the motor. So depending on the operating conditions of the motor, it may need more or less fuel than it normally does. So for example, during cold start, we need a very rich fuel mixture, which means we need more fuel mixed with the air. Once the motor is warmed up, we can actually reduce the amount of fuel. Now, once we start to progress past idle and we move towards full throttle, once again, we need more fuel. So the carburetor's job as a device is to make sure that the proper amount of fuel is actually mixed with the correct amount of air that's traveling through it.
My motor has been sitting and now runs rough. I'm thinking it's the carburetor. What are my options to fix it?
If you have an older motor that's been sitting around and it doesn't seem to quite run right, you have a few different options. Now, one of the things that can happen is, especially with older motors and modern ethanol fuels can build up what's called sulfate salts. And these can actually clog passages inside the carburetor and actually damage other components internally. Now, some dealerships will actually try to clean the carburetors, and this can be a very affordable thing to do in some cases. But in some cases, the carburetor may be damaged beyond repair and actually needs to be replaced, unfortunately. It's no fault of the carburetor itself, that's just a change of the fuels and the effects of ethanol on the fuel system. So one of the circuits in our carburetor is actually the low speed circuit, and its job is actually to meter fuel at idle conditions. As soon as you progress past throttle, you start to pick up other circuits. Now that circuit is extremely small passageways inside the carburetor itself, and if you let a fuel system sit for too long of a period of time, the fuel evaporates, and actually some of the contaminants that are in that fuel can actually clog that passageway up. Once it's clogged, fuel doesn't go through, you don't have the right air-fuel mixture, and sure enough, your motor dies. Now, to remedy that, sometimes you can clean the carburetor. These are the most difficult passages to clean, and sometimes it may require actual replacement. That's the idle speed outlet passage there at the top of the carburetor, and it's actually connected not only to the airflow, but also to the fuel in the float bowl by some very small passages. So sometimes cleaning that requires disassembly of the carburetor and actually cleaning out these little teeny passageways that go from the bottom all the way up to the top where air and fuel is mixed together. Make sure you always use Yamalube Fuel Stabilizer Plus, and that helps ensure that your fuel system is actually kept clean and reduces the chances of damage being done to any internal components.
I understand that the engine gets air through the carb, but why is the center of the carb narrow? Wouldn't that restrict airflow?
The center of the carburetor is called the venturi, and what happens is as we start to reduce the passageway in diameter, the air that's traveling through it speeds up. That creates a low pressure area that allows fuel to be drawn out of the float bowl.
New carb replacement is high. What makes it so costly?
When you actually replace the carburetors on this, you're actually going to take them all apart, put on new ones, but then you actually have to go through the procedure of doing the sync and link once again. So you're going to have to make sure that all these individual linkages are all adjusted properly to one another, because the carburetors on this model are actually even connected to the ignition sensor and the throttle sensor here. So without the proper adjustment, not only will the timing be off, but also the carburetors are going to fight against one another and actually try to run at different RPMs, which doesn't make for a very smooth running motor.
If you guys would like more information, please be sure to check out maintenance.yamahaoutboards.com.
Don't sail away. ShipShape TV will be back in a flash.
We hooked the trailer and our brand new KenCraft 2260 up to my Ford F-150 up in Wilson, North Carolina, and we drug it down here to my home base, Jupiter, Florida. And real quick, I want to introduce you to a new staff member here at ShipShape TV. This is Mary Beth Barabee.
Hello, everyone.
Mary Beth is in our marketing department / advertising sales department.
Very much looking forward to working with you all.
And very soon we're relocating to the Mecca of boating. We're heading down to Fort Lauderdale as a base, which I think is going to be really cool. And my question to everybody at home is, if you lived in Mecca, would you be called a Mecca Ken? I don't know. That's just. Hey, we have Bob Brunson back on the program, and Bob, you were visiting some salespeople and dealerships down in Alabama, Mississippi, here in Florida. These boats are really, really becoming super popular. You've been around for 45 years. Do you have room for another dealer or two to maybe pick up the line?
We could probably take another dealer or two.
Okay, fantastic. We talked about how this particular boat will not beat you to death in a chop. Okay, it's very, very smooth when you're riding in a 2-3 foot wave, unlike any other flat bottom boat. I want to talk about how it turns so well at high speeds. It's different than anybody else that's out there. What are the 3 components on the hull bottom? There's 3 of them if you look. Going all the way from the front of the boat all the way to the back of the boat. What are those?
So you and I experienced this in Morehead City, North Carolina, when we took this boat at high speed and made some dramatic turns, right?
Yeah.
So at 45 miles an hour, this boat will do, we call it a golfer turn. Dog leg left, dog leg right. Different than any other flat bottom boat. We have 3 lifting strakes that run front to back, all the way to the end of the hull. They're about,
how big are they? Yeah.
They're approximately 3 inches deep.
Okay.
A couple inches wide. And that helps with the boat tracking, along with our proprietary hull design. When the boat rolls up on its side, the tracking strakes along with the hull design allow you to stick the hull and make a turn.
So what makes this flat bottom boat different is the weight of the hull, just the hull. Super, super heavy, gives you the smooth ride in the chop. It has the tracking strakes, so that you can turn it at high speed. Let's talk about how shallow of water can you run in this boat, or just rest in. What are you looking at?
Well, on our website we publish 10 inches.
Right.
And so with this boat, again, because it's so stable and such a wide platform, you really displace very little water.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of it. So the fish guy can fish in really skinny water, yet the four stringers in this boat to make the boat so strong and stable, you can take this boat in choppy water without getting beat to death. So you really can go in deep water, shallow water.
Well, there's so much room in the boat. Literally, this is the ultimate party boat. You could have the whole neighborhood on this boat, and you could go out to the sandbar. And you want to talk about a family boat. What we've also added as an accessory to the boat today is a lily pad diving board. And back at the factory, you mounted the actual mounting points for this lily pad diving board. And so not only do you have a boat that's going to fish, you have a boat that's going to be able to have fun on as a sandbar. Now you have literally a water park, a moving water park wherever you go. You entertain the kids, they will never, ever want to go anywhere else but on the boat with mom and dad. And we got a lot of people that we need to thank, but we are out of time. Here's the credits, guys. Give him acknowledgement. But again, I'm John Greviskis, Bob Brunson, Mary Beth Barabee. We will see you on the next go around.
This episode of ShipShape TV has been brought to you by Surehold. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of newly uploaded ShipShape TV episodes.